Welcome back to the Blind Zone. Well, as I'm sure you're sick of me here saying it, but I'm going to tell you again. What exactly is the blind zone? It's something that you never saw coming, or something that you refuse to see that was right in front of your face. As you can tell, I have my posse of good friends here again. It's Cindy, Deirdre, and me. And for ease of everybody's confusion, we're going to call the end Cindy CJ, the other Cindy CW, and then Deirdre prefers D. So today's topic is on temperaments. And we first heard this at our church, and it's Kathleen Edelman's I Said This, You Heard That. And you can watch it on YouTube, and she's done a bunch of stuff, and it's really been insightful for us. So today we thought we would talk with you about what our color temperaments are and how they interact with each other, and how when you know somebody else's temperament, it makes them much easier to understand where they're coming from. So anyway, I'm super excited today to have this opportunity to talk between the four of us about our temperaments. And I've asked CJ to read briefly the color combinations. She'll read the red and yellow. CW will read blue, and then D will read green. And that'll all become apparent to you once she starts. And again, it's how we're wired. And if we understand each other's temperaments, then we're much more equipped to deal with things as they are. Phew, that was a long introduction. Anyway, so and just if you don't get it, I've asked everybody to wear the color temperament that they are. So CJ's pretty yellow, and anyway, that's the dress. I'm in red because.
And guess who's red?
You're really.
Yeah.
That's the bossy part of me. Anyway, so CJ, if you would please read the yellow and red temperaments.
Okay, I'm going to start with red because that's
as you should,
our leader. Red speaks the language of power and control. They are extroverted and task oriented. Their innate needs are loyalty, that's being prioritized, knowing you have their back, sense of control, everyone pulling their weight, following the plan, hallelujah, appreciation, being valued for their unique strengths, and credit for work, being valued for their contributions. When those needs aren't being met, they manipulate with tone and volume. We will leave it there.
Yeah, I don't think you get different. I do not think, CJ, that we need a blow by blow.
We don't need a narrative along the way.
Let's talk about the yellow in CJ.
Now we'll go to yellow.
Now we'll go to yellow.
And that happens to be speaks the language of people and fun. They are extroverted and people oriented. Their innate needs are approval, being liked for who, should have been for whom, they are without needing to change. Acceptance, being invited and included. Thank you, Denise. Attention, having your full focus, especially eye contact. And affection, being noticed or acknowledged. When these needs are met, they manipulate with charm and flattery. Again, we leave that right there.
All right, next, I'm actually a green, but I'm going to read blue. Blue speaks the language of perfection and order. They are introverted and task oriented. Their innate needs are safety, being able to trust their surroundings and relationships, sensitivity, being understood, and support, being offered or provided help, and space, silence, having time to decompress, process, or think. When these needs are not met, they manipulate with moods and silence.
And last but certainly not least, I'm green, and I'm going to read this. So green speaks the language of calm and harmony. They are introverted and people oriented. Their innate needs are harmony, which is everyone getting along or everything going smoothly. Feeling of worth, which is being valued for their unique strengths. Lack of stress, which is an absence of conflict and combative words. and respect. That's being asked for their thoughts or opinions. When these needs aren't being met, they manipulate with procrastination and stubbornness.
That's true.
Mhm.
I have to tell a short story here. My husband was
Can we take
agreeing,
it or not?
and it used to drive me crazy because I would tell him to do something, and then I'd tell him again. And by the third time, I don't care what I told him, he wasn't going to do it. And I just thought that just bugged me. I didn't understand it. Well, Dee and I were having a conversation, and she said something, and then she played out that same thing. She said, and then I just decided I wasn't going to do it. And I was like, oh, all these
Light bulb.
years, the light bulb went off. And so I forgave him for all those times I was in my head, maybe I just didn't say it right. Maybe I didn't convey it. But it was in his green temperament that
Yeah.
he wasn't going to do that under any circumstances. And I wish I'd learned that years ago. That would save me so much grief.
And I appreciated you actually bringing it up because when I said it, I didn't realize I was operating in the weaknesses of my green, and so it brought light to me on like I was just saying I'm not gonna do it, but right.
Yeah.
It actually helped me to see that I wasn't really leaning into my strength, but I was being weak.
Your needs were not being met.
Yes.
See,
Well, because when we were talking about this, I was like, I was going to ask everybody to look at the strength things and what they liked, and for me, the loyalty thing is a big thing. I want you on my side, and even if you don't agree with me, just stay with me. Because I always felt like people were ditching me left and right, and that's probably my personality, and that has nothing to do with my temperament. And so then I thought about it, and one of the things is I want everybody to pull their weight, and this group here knows that everybody was late this morning, and I thought, if you people knew how important this was, you'd have got here on time. And it was just hilarious because they all did their best, and it just wasn't possible, and they all pulled their weight, and here we are. But so if you had to look at the strengths of the short list that's in front of you, what would you say is your big thing, that the thing you find the most,
Thank you.
the biggest thing you, I don't know, find the most value in, or is the biggest flag to wave? And we'll start with you, CJ. What do you think it is under
I was
your
afraid
yellow?
you were going to do that. Actually, it's hard to separate the ones that are here: approval, acceptance, attention, and affection. It's probably approval would stick out before anything else would. Being liked for whom they are, like that's the acceptance comes into that one as well. I think so. That would be a big one for me.
Yeah, because we've known each other for a little while now, and you're so glowy yellow most of the time that
Glowy yellow.
And I will say this is another thing that Cindy has a definite mind of her own there, because I said, now we're each going to wear our colors, and she texted back, I'm wearing orange because I'm a combination. And I was like, that is so yellow. That is so yellow. And so she played the game well today, and she wore yellow.
I
and,
did.
I'm surprised she doesn't have an orange hat on her.
Yeah, right.
It's something.
Or at least a little pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also known as. Okay, and so now CW, what do you think out of your column of green, which one do you float to the most?
I'd have to say harmony, definitely. I like harmony. I like everybody to get along and everybody love each other and kumbaya and all that good stuff. So definitely harmony for me.
Yeah, because Dee and I were, Denise and I were kind of ragging on each other, and CW goes, I'm leaving.
I've got to go home now.
I have to go home now.
Yeah.
So definitely harmony.
Definitely.
So what happens when you're in an inhospitable place?
I truly probably, the stubbornness probably comes out of me that I'm going to leave and I'm not going to deal with it. I just can't deal with it. That's probably my weakness.
So do you ever resolve those things, or just
Yes, I do.
put them behind you?
No, I resolve most of them. There might be one or two left behind, but overall I try to resolve.
Yeah, because I find that most greens kind of just like, oh, we're not dealing with that anymore. And we're just going to push it in the closet, shut
Yeah.
the door. And I don't think that's helpful.
It's not, and I have tried to battle that. And like, if I've done something on my end, I try to go and say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, whatever. So I try to make peace as much as I love harmony in my life. I try to make
Mhm.
peace too.
Okay. And how about you and your strengths of your green? What do you think is the one that floats up highest?
Well, I probably like CW Harmony is the probably the top one, but I'll go with another one since she chose Harmony.
Just to be just to
Plan B.
That's great.
Oh my
See how
goodness.
hospitable she is.
Oh, I'm gonna go with lack of stress, an absence of conflict and combative words.
Mhm.
And
Well, that kind of goes along with
it
harmony.
does.
does.
It
Yeah,
does. They
it
all
does.
go together.
They do.
We need them all.
Yeah.
These are all our needs. But they
Yeah.
it's when I'm in conflict, I'm thinking what do I need to do to get out of it? Not necessarily to leave, but what do I need to do to help the people that are in conflict resolve? So I'm a huge mediator.
Yeah.
And
Peacemaker.
things, yeah, in those situations because I just want to see
Me
what we
too.
need to do to get to the other side as quick as
Yeah.
possible because of that conflict and those words.
Yeah.
Make me uneasy.
Mhm.
And how about you, ma'am?
Yeah.
Well, again, the
You want
loyalty
us to
thing.
answer?
Yeah, really. No,
I don't think she
This
does.
is where you all be quiet. I don't hear a word out of you. Well, because loyalty is a big thing with me, and I think that as you read that list off, they all fall into the same basic thing. I like to be in control. I do like I get an idea, and this is where the loyalty comes in. And my cousin, who's a blue, my cousin has heard more of my far-fetched ideas, and she's always, well, you might want to think, don't worry about that business. Let's just get on board and roll with it. And so she's always right, so I'll give her that. But loyalty, I just want you to, I just want to know that whatever I do, you're going to stick around with. And even if I'm doing crazy stuff, you'll be like, well, at least you tried, or whatever it is. And so for me, having people that have my back is really important because the rest of that stuff, I think CJ and I both, we kind of, when we talk about something, we're surprised when it comes out of our mouth. We're like, oh, I didn't even know I believed that. Look at that, and so that's part of my processing tool as well. Now I had heard that in some churches that they have the when they have offices, that outside their office there's a thing on the side and it tells what the temperament of the person inside is. So when you're going in,
Interesting.
you walk in, you're like, oh, this is a red, and so they're going to get right down to business. Oh, this is a yellow, they're going to chit chat, or this is whatever the temperament is. And I thought that was really a very good way of expressing to others what it is you need, and expecting them to have some, I don't know, compassion towards that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because have you all found, and I have found this in my own case, have you all found that when you know what somebody else is, that it really takes the edge off of when you're thinking in your head,
Absolutely.
Yes.
what are they talking
Yes.
about?
Mhm.
Or for me, are they still talking? Jeez.
Well, and for me, when Denise comes up with these lovely ideas and she bounces them off of me, I know not to react right away because the merry-go-round is going to turn and turn and turn and turn, and she's going to go around and around, and then finally she's either going to jump off, and then that's finished, and so then I didn't have to get in the middle of that. Or she's going to hang in there and say, okay, here's the plan.
Right.
So
That's hilarious.
That is
that's
funny.
one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you've described it as a roller coaster.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay.
Roller
hang
coaster.
on,
Oh, get down
bars
here.
coming
No.
down.
Ah.
And then she's right.
Yeah.
Because I used to have a boss, and he worked at a church, and I had this boss, and he would say stuff, and I knew better than to start any of it, because all I had to do is wait him out, and then next week it would be another new thing. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
You feel my pain.
Yeah, I feel
Mhm.
you. Because half of it was like, he really doesn't mean that. He's just talking off the top of his head. I guess it didn't make me a very good employee because I wasn't like jumping on board.
Yeah.
But I get what you're talking about. So, but honestly, can you give me an example of like when you're interacting with somebody and then you recognize that their temperament is of a different color than yours and how it helps you reformulate what your reaction to them is?
Well, I want to say make a statement before I give the example. So because just remembering, and of course, if you all are interested in this, when you go and look at the teaching, but it's all around communication. That's the whole. That's the
Yes.
filter by
Yeah.
which these colors play a part. And so
Definitely.
when I first did this, and then I had my daughter do it, it was life changing for us because her being a blue, and I didn't understand. Even as a little girl, she would come home from school, she wanted to go in her room, she wanted to be bothered. I'm thinking she was being bullied, or if some, she had bad days. And literally, she's a blue. So when she had been peopled out because, and we didn't kind of talk about this, but introverted and extroverted. I think sometimes we think it's just people, non-people, and tasks and stuff. But anyway, she had been around people all day, and she needed that space and silence. So it wasn't necessarily what she was saying as much as what she was needing. She needed to be by herself for a little while, just to decompress. And so just understanding it, when we did it, both of us, she's like, "Oh, you're being green again." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're being blue again." But now we give each other grace.
Right.
Because we understand that this is just how we're wired, and then we understand each other better. So that's really helped me and her's relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I know my sister's a yellow, so my husband was a green, my sister's a yellow, I'm the red, and my cousin was the blue. And my sister, when we'd go to the cancer center for my husband, my sister being the yellow, she would go around the room. Did you need anything to drink? Here's some snacks. Let me get the door. And I'm sitting there thinking, these kids see where the snack box is. Let them get them. And again, such a different temperament. And again, my sister knew all those people because we saw them week after week. And she, I remembered you like this. I brought this for you, and here's a book. And it just was so foreign to me. And by the end of it, you just thought I'd gotten better at it, but no. And that, that was to my detriment. But again, we had different temperaments sitting there. And, I admired that. But sometimes, honestly, it got on my nerves a little too. Maybe it's just pointing out what I was not doing. But
so CJ gets on your nerves
all the time. Does it bother me?
No.
She was. Now I got to tell this on CJ because she was coming over, and she has this muffin place. It's a great muffin place, and so she was gonna. So she texted me and said they're out of muffins, but I can go tomorrow and get some, and it'll only take me an extra 25 minutes. That is the most ridiculous thing. Absolutely not. You're not a muffin purist. Just skip the muffins.
You don't know how good these muffins are, though. Oh, they are so good.
But she's so yellow that it wouldn't have bothered her.
It didn't.
And I'm like, it's just a muffin. I don't really care. Next time you're in the neighborhood, if they have some, fine. But the whole thing is that's very thoughtful.
Yes.
And I'm
a really nice person.
Very thoughtful.
Acceptance.
That's right.
That's what I want.
Acceptance.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about you, CW?
And
just
we're not telling the stories on me
oh,
today.
Come on.
No, I will tell one story. That's right. No, I will tell one on Denise. It's a good one though. But I know she texted me one afternoon and said, "Oh my goodness, can you come help me with something?" And I immediately texted back and said, "Can you give me about 30 minutes and I'll be over there?" So she texts me back, "You passed the test. You are loyal. You are my friend." Just teasing, but she really did need help. But she found somebody else in the meantime. But the fact that I jumped in there and was going to come right over made her happy. Yeah.
Well, because it is important.
It is
because
for your reds.
Yeah. I
I'm
just
going to remember
know.
that.
Yeah.
I'll just say yes.
And then hope
Let
to
us
find
know.
somebody
Wait
else.
Wait it out. Then I'll find somebody.
Wait, give me 2 hours.
That's hilarious. She'll find somebody else.
Maybe she'll
Yeah.
find somebody else. Yeah.
You know how
Oh,
you're
that's
playing
good.
me now. This is
They're
great.
throwing you right under that bus,
Yeah,
aren't we?
That's right. Yeah.
But red is a good color for that to be
Yes.
thrown, because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
control and the loyal. It's awesome.
I cannot.
Oh, I'm going to find more
Did I-
reds so I can throw them under the bus.
Oh my goodness. Let's clarify.
Yeah, let's clarify.
We need all the temperament.
We
Yes,
do.
we
Yes,
do.
we do.
This is a picture
Yes.
of the body of Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
Like we're all different members, but each one
Yes.
brings something to the table.
Yes.
And so we need the reds to push us. If we're in a fire, we
Yes.
want the reds to take control
That's
and
right.
take us out.
That's right.
Harmony.
Yes.
Speaking.
Speaking.
Yes.
That's right. Yes. That was
Hilarious.
good. That was good.
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
yeah. Well, so CW, so how have you seen the temperaments worked out where once you recognized what other people were, that it was easier to deal with them?
Well, just like for you, it's easy for me to know if you need something, I need to be available. Or, if you are trying to put something together or, wanting to be accepted, I'll try to accept whatever it is you say at the moment and let you think you're accepted. No,
Really. Pretend
And
like
then-
they're going along with me.
Yeah. And now Dee and I, we're just meeting. So this morning we had to hug each other
Mhm.
because we have the peace and the harmony.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, goodness.
yeah.
That's
hilarious.
fun.
Well, so this whole thing, knowing your temperament and this has been fun to talk about, but really once I was able to see through other people's filters, it also showed me what I needed to do, like CW just pointed out, that what I need to do to make sure. Now, I did have a friend who had some kids who were struggling, and I said, what you do is you sit them down at their temperaments and you write out the words that they can only say those words with their temperament, because that'll only strengthen their relationship and it won't allow them to erode their bonds by using the detrimental things. And it had a very positive effect. So if you know what the other person needs and feed into that strength, not in a manipulative way, but in a sincere way, that'll help you and that'll help them.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we all do have our strengths and we all have our things that we like to do and the way we like it to play out. But if we can see it from somebody else's vantage point, I think that strengthens us as well.
Mm-hmm. The core scripture for this whole teaching comes out of Ephesians. I'm not going to be able to quote it, but it talks about let every word that comes out of your mouth be wholesome, and to build each other up. And so the thought behind it is just that, especially for those who are Christ followers, that we are thinking about not being so self-centered, but that we're thinking about the persons or people that we're come in contact with and that we're in communication with, and thinking about what they need. These wirings are not they're not preferences. It's the way God designed us. And again, going back to what I was saying about the body of Christ, I was bringing harmony, but I was also He really did create each of us. He wired us this way for a reason.
Yes.
And so when we lean into the spirit and allow the way He wired us to work the way we were designed to, then it benefits everyone.
Yes.
And then when we are leaning into our flesh, which Denise does a great analogy on, spirit versus flesh, and helps us see that. But when we're leaning into our flesh, is when we're going weak. So even as we learn each other, if we see one of us, leaning into our flesh versus into the spirit, then we can nudge each other, but in a way that's going to build and edify and not tear down. And so I think it's just a awesome picture of what it means to be one of the members of the body and how we all have a part to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great. Definitely.
See, that's the extra harmony coming out in you.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's in the Bible somewhere.
It's in there.
Look it
every
up.
one of
Yeah,
these
look it
videos, somebody else is saying that.
It's in there.
That's in
Yeah.
the Bible.
It's in the Bible.
We can't quote it, but we know it.
Oh,
It's in
that's
there.
right.
Yeah.
And the fact that He has actually placed you three women in my life has been an absolute blessing for me.
Amen. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And us all being, well, Dee and I are the same color, but all being different colors and how we harmonize together. And,
Yeah.
you can do it if you want.
Yeah.
Well,
You let
because
God lead you.
CJ and CW and I were sitting in church a couple of weeks ago, and we were laughing so hard we almost had to tell the preacher he can come on time because we were too busy talking. And we were just that's when CJ said, you know what, we got to do a video about this. And
Yes,
we're bringing
yes.
Dee along for the whole ride, and
Yeah.
that's how this whole
Yeah.
thing came about. But we stopped in time for the preacher to do whatever he was going to
You know
do.
what?
At the
I
end of
know.
that, he had to continue.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
If you must. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, if you must. Anyway, ladies, this has been a great bunch of fun.
Yeah,
And is there
it has.
anything anyone would like to add before we conclude here? CJ, anything?
No, I'm good. I think we have covered most of everything that we wanted to say today, I believe. And thank you
Right.
for
Yeah.
allowing us to do that. And sorry about throwing you under the bus there. But I had
Yeah,
fun.
sorry
And
at
fun
all.
and people, that's me.
Yeah,
That's
that's right. That's right. In fact, you got those two on the bus with you as you rolled over me.
That's
so it's
right.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because they're so harmonistic.
Yes.
Is that a word?
Yes, it is now.
We all work together on this. CW, anything from
Well,
you?
I just have to say I love everybody. And
Okay. Cool. Bright green.
Right.
I just
Bright
love
green.
everybody. And I do
Definitely.
love these ladies here, and it has just been a blessing, and it's wonderful. And we hope that you can learn something from this, from your colors, and maybe being able to love and be with other people.
Okay, and D for you?
My counterpart Green said it so well.
Love everybody.
Love everybody. I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, and as a red, it's hard for me to wrest control, to let anybody else do anything. So I'm just going to say this has been fabulous fun, and I super appreciate the fact that you all took time out of a Saturday morning, and you were a little late, but it was fine. You eventually got here.
She has to.
She keep throwing us under the bus. We were late, everybody.
No, Cindy wasn't.
I keep-
CW was
this
not.
one.
But I wanted
Yeah.
harmony, so I didn't want to mention that. Throw anything into the. But I was on time.
Oh yeah, she was. I was 5 minutes late, and we won't say how late the other one was.
Oh yeah, I was late.
But see, this is the thing, and so when this whole thing started again, I was like, well, if they would have known how important this was, they would have all gotten cracked out.
We should just come Thursday and fought the storm.
tornadoes.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right. Well, your loyal friend was on time.
Just make that note.
Yeah,
Right.
put that down. Little
So
asterisk.
if anybody's keeping the big checklist,
That's right.
That's right.
Who won in this race? Anyway, thank you again, ladies. So next week it'll be just a solo one, and I think I'm going to be talking about how I helped God. We should all laugh at that. That
We
is
did.
so hilarious. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining me on this episode of The Blind Zone. See you next week.
God bless.
God bless.